You'll remember a couple of months back my strimmer broke and I sent it off to be repaired. Well, I've finally given up and just bought a new one because that idiot who's repairing it still hasn't managed to do it. And that's 2 and a bit months where I've not been able to strim anyone's hedge. For the height of the season, I must have lost a bloody fortune. I should have just bought a new one straight off. Anyway, here's the new one. It's a JCB. And it's bloody loud. What a flaming palaver that was. I finally uploaded the episode from, nearly this time last month. In fact, I'm a little bit behind. It took 3 goes. Yesterday, you remember I mentioned that the internet connection was slow because of the wind. Well, at that time, I was actually uploading something to YouTube, and it was taking an eon. It normally takes 2 hours tops. This is a village. It's got a very slow net connection normally, but 2 hours tops to load up a 12-minute video in high quality. This was already set to take 4 hours, maybe more. It was looking grim. But then, after 3 hours of uploading, the power cut. So yesterday evening, once everyone had pretty much gone to bed, I started uploading again. This time, it tried to start loading up from the middle of the file. Obviously, it thought YouTube still had the rest of the file. I'd actually deleted the previous attempt at uploading it because I didn't know it was going to try doing this. Anyway, I came back to look at it this morning. It thought it had uploaded everything, but if you looked on YouTube, there was nothing there. So that's 2 failed attempts. This morning, finally, I've uploaded it. It's there. Huzzah. But frankly, what an effort. And I've got an entire month to catch up on. And other stuff to do, so later. They're complaining about the 50p rate of tax and saying they should cut this as quickly as possible. Well, the government has already suggested cutting taxes for the poorer part of the community. Well, okay, let's be honest. Part of the government has. The Conservatives are looking very strongly at giving money back to the rich people, the ones who caused the recession in the first place with their banking messing around. Well, there's this big argument they're putting up that if you put up or maintain rather the 50p rate of tax, then all the entrepreneurs will leave because it will be too much tax for them to invest in anything. Look at it the other way. Give the money to the poor, then there'll be all these poor people with money. What better incentive can there be for an entrepreneur to start investing in the UK? Loads of people with money that they want to spend that they can get their mitts on. That is a great reason to invest in this country if you're an entrepreneur. So give the money to the poor people, and that will give the entrepreneurs a reason to be here. It's quite hard to find a cheesy Christmas cover I don't like, but I think I've possibly found the worst ever version of All I Want for Christmas Is You, and it's by My Chemical Romance. Avoid. Well, since I've not done a State of Anchovy strip since, Easter? I figured it's about time. And here we have the creation process. I've actually spent a bit of time getting all of my strips together on my computer, bunching them up into themes so that when I start with one theme I can continue with it. This one, however, is one that's out there on its own. Being a goth, eventually I am going to get round to the theme of zombies, and this is the one. I do like my strips to have good guys in, though. I tend to be better at writing them. And there are good guys zombies. Zombo, of course. Jesus is another notable one. And now we have Dave the Zombie Hippie. You see him there, suitably hippie-ish yellow background there, working in pastel and pastel pencils. Yes, of course, not forgetting the rose-tinted glasses. I was thinking of making it a checked shirt, but I kind of liked it how it was. Anyway, what does Dave the zombie hippie think? Well, obviously we're starting with the most obvious zombie word. But to know what else he thinks, keep watching. We'll have more of this either later this episode or next time.
Perfect knowledge before they make a decision. And the entire world believed that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction or the means to get them and use them very quickly. He could have done an awful lot to disabuse the world of that view because he refused to cooperate with...
Back just after the riots, there were people saying, take benefits away from anyone who was rioting. And Cameron didn't do that at the time because I think he knew he couldn't get away with that, his retrospective justice and all that. And very illegal. But you can tell he liked the idea because he's back with it again. This time is take benefits away from any parents whose kids go truant. In other words, you'll get fined. In other words, effectively you'll be criminalised, because let's face it, you only find criminals, yeah? You got to be a criminal to get fined, yeah? So in other words, you're a criminal if your child skips school, if not something you've done, if your child skips school and you're poor. Because if you're rich, they can't take your benefits away. So if your child skips school and you're rich, you've done nothing wrong. The state doesn't care. If your child skips school and you're poor, you're criminal scum. So, yeah, we are now criminalising the poor just for being poor. And they're going to keep doing it. They're going to start finding as many excuses as they can to take away your benefits for any little misdemeanour you do. You fart in public, that's it. Gone. Today, I start the very important process of making mince pies. Yes, it is September, but if you want to make mince pies properly, you've got to start early. Now, the thing with most recipes in most recipe magazines and most recipe books for mince pies is that they all say, go and buy a jar of mincemeat. For me, that kind of defeats the point, because making pastry anyone can do. So today, I've started making the mincemeat. It's a simple process, but you've got to let it marinate for a few months. Anyway, here's how it goes. Firstly, a list of things you're going to need. 2 lemons, 200 grams of raisins, 200 grams of sultanas, a large cooking apple, 150 grams of mixed peel, a cuddly toy, 200 grams of suet, 200 grams of dark muscovado sugar, 200 grams of currants, a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, nutmeg, 2 teaspoons of mixed spice, half a teaspoon of ground ginger, brandy, sherry, and orange juice. And so to the kitchen. If you did get a cuddly toy, I'm afraid that was just a joke about the generation games and you should probably dispose of it. The first thing you're actually going to need is some kind of large mixing bowl. Given I'm trying here to make enough mincemeat for the whole of Christmas, large is a good word to use.
Next up, pick a good knife.
Ah, my favourite knife. Good.
And get to work chopping the lemons in half.
Ah! It's a Pikachu. There's a Pikachu in the bin.
I guess that's what happened to the cuddly toy. Now, stop messing around. Get those lemons in half and pop the pips out. Now, squeeze all the juice you can out of the lemons. The more juice you squeeze out of the lemons into the bowl now, the less juice that's going to end up all over the chopping board in a few moments. Go on, you work that lemon. That's it. Both hands. Big effort. Well, that's enough of that. On to the next bit. Chop the lemon up into the smallest, teeniest, tiniest pieces you can. All of it, the flesh and the peel. If you've squeezed it properly, there won't be that much juice left, but there will be some. So when you push the peel into the bowl, push the juice in as well. Add 200 grams of raisins.
Raisins do? Grams of sultanas that look suspiciously like raisins. Because the raisins look suspiciously like sultanas.
Peel and core a large cooking apple.
Core an apple. Sorry, couldn't resist. Coxes are big this year.
If you've quite finished messing around, yes, that's better.
Strange how no one peels potatoes like this. I wonder if you just can't.
Once you've finished peeling,
Right.
chop all the bits that aren't core off the bit that is core and put the bit that is core in the bin. And chop the bits that aren't core into teeny tiny pieces. Which go into the mixing bowl too.
That'll do fine.
Along with the mixed peel.
Take a bit extra.
Now, start mixing it all together. If you want it smooth or you're a bit of a wuss, you can use the blender. Alternatively, if you prefer it chunky and you're rather manly, you can mix it using a wooden spoon.
The apple mixed in with the lemon juice at the bottom. Oh, and we need some orange juice in this now. This is actually the strange bit.
because the original recipe I'm basing this on has the orange juice in the pastry. But I don't do my mince pies that way, never have done. But I do have a bit of orange juice in there. Okay, time for some orange juice as well. Never actually worked out exactly how much. Some, there we go. Some orange juice. Needs liquid, you know. Right. Once you've mixed in all the orange juice, it's time to add in all the other ingredients. That's the suet, the dark muscovado sugar. Break that up before you put it in. There we go. Now the currants. Ground cinnamon. Ground nutmeg, you can just grind it straight into the bowl. And there's me grinding it there. No more than about a quarter of a nutmeg there, I think. Teaspoon of mixed spice. Some ground ginger, which I put in off camera for some reason. And then add the alcohol of your choice. I'd suggest brandy, sherry, or both. I add the sherry in later. God, that's nearly all the brandy. Mind you, there wasn't much left. That is all the brandy. Now mix that lot all up good and proper and transfer it into some kind of receptacle like jam jars, but make sure they are very clean and leave it to marinate until Christmas. So there you have it, how to make mincemeat for your mince pies. Now, looks like this is going to be going out in the middle of November, so you've still got time to do it. A month is plenty of time for it to marinate. But what you're going to want to know come December is how to make the actual pies themselves, which means pastry. And pastry is actually incredibly simple, so I'll tell you now, because obviously I won't be doing it on camera till December. Pastry, very simple. Half fat to flour. That's all you need to remember. You mix those together. As long as you've got half the amount of fat that you've got flour, i.e. butter, there's fat. You can use lard, but half the weight of butter is the amount of flour you've got. Mix them together, you'll get a sort of, well, crumble mixture, actually. It's actually the stuff that you put on top of crumble, although you may want to add a bit of sugar for crumble. To turn it into pastry, add a little bit of water, not much, just a little bit, and that will all sort of bind together as you knead it all in, and then put down some flour on a surface, roll it out flat. If you haven't got any proper cutters, take a mug with a big wide mouth and a mug with a little mouth, and use the big one for the base and the little ones for the tops. And obviously you will need a tin of one of those sort of baking trays for pie shaped things. You can get them at any supermarket or cooking shop in a variety of shapes. Put the pastry down, put the mincemeat in, close them up, voila. You might want to spread a little bit of milk on top of the mince pie case before you bake it. It makes it all crisp and lovely. And then you can also sprig icing sugar. Sprigger? You can sprig icing sugar all over the top if you want as well. There you go. Mince pies. That's it. That's everything for this week. Enjoy. Goodbye.